$10,000. That's how much money people in Texas can now win in court by successfully suing anyone who helps a woman get an abortion after 6 weeks. That would include a doctor who performs it, a person who helps pay for it, even someone who drives a woman to an abortion clinic. That is all now legal in Texas. There are no exceptions under this new law for rape or incest, the only exceptions for medical emergencies. Those who support the law declared today a historic and hopeful day. They see it as protecting the lives of unborn children. For those who oppose it, they denounced it as a bounty, enabling private citizens to file lawsuits, leaving enforcement to private citizens instead of officials. Advocates of abortion rights say it effectively bans abortions in Texas, arguing that women who don't even get pregnant until 6 weeks. They also see it as an assault on Roe versus Wade, which legalized abortion nationwide in 1973. The Texas law went into effect last midnight. Abortion clinics asked the Supreme Court to step in and block with the court. Now, lawyer, co-founder of the SCOTUS blog and reporter covering the Supreme Court. Amy, thanks so much. When people claim this effectively overturned Roe v. Wade in Texas, are they right or wrong?
So it's hard to say. I think it's a little bit complicated. You know, Roe versus Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Case, which is a 1992 case, say that a woman has a right to obtain an abortion to the point at which a fetus becomes viable, till it can live on its own outside the womb, and that generally occurs at around 24 weeks. So now in Texas, you can't get an abortion once there's a doctor can hear a fetal heartbeat at 6 weeks. So in Texas, there's no longer the right to an abortion after 6 weeks.
If you could explain the design of this law for us, did Texas officials effectively give themselves a kind of shield by leaving the enforcement up to the people?
This law was designed to make it harder to challenge before it went into effect. So the question is not just whether it's constitutional, but who can challenge it. So as you mentioned in the introduction, normally state officials would enforce a law like this, and that's the case in other states that have similar heartbeat laws. But Texas gave private citizens the right to enforce the laws. And so what the state is arguing in the Supreme Court, which hasn't yet ruled on the request to block the law from going into effect, is that we don't enforce the laws. And so you can't really do anything as to us. We're not the people to sue. That what the challengers, who are a group of abortion providers, need to do is wait for the law to go into effect. And if they're sued, they can claim as a defense that the law is unconstitutional.
Amy,
the idea that you have to wait for the law to go into effect is a feature, not a bug, from Texas's perspective.
Got it. I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize. One last question. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments in this term on a law in Mississippi that bans most abortions after 15 weeks. That's seen as a chance to rule on Roe v. Wade. How do you see that one playing out?
So we don't know for sure. I think everyone is watching. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, certainly since the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, President Donald Trump, the former president, had promised to put justices on who would overrule Roe versus Wade, and he put 3 justices on the court. And so, I think that most people think there is a good chance that the Supreme Court could either overrule Roe versus Wade or, make it much easier for states to impose laws that will make it harder for women to obtain abortions. The question is really, will they take the step of overruling Roe versus Wade? But it's very possible that they could. We'll have to wait and see. What they do with this request to block the Texas law could tell us a lot about what they could do when they finally get the Mississippi case in front of them. They're likely to hear oral argument in that case in December and then issue a decision sometime next year.
Amy Howe from SCOTUS blog. Can't thank you enough.